We'll stick with the DNC this morning and some expectations for the week. Joining us here at Post 9, the former Chief of Staff to Vice President Pence, Marc Short. Marc is also a CNBC contributor. It's always good to have you on set, Marc.
Carl, thanks.
We were just talking about the momentum roller coaster since RNC and how much time is left for additional surprises in this cycle. What do you think?
Well, it's certainly been a crazy year, I think an unprecedented year. But at the same time, I think for the Democrats heading to the convention, what they actually want is less drama. Of course, this is the site of the 1968 riots, and there's a lot of unrest on the Democrat side as far as policy toward the Middle East. But I think they want having a focus on Biden, Obama, Clinton, and Kamala Harris. They want less drama. And if they are able to do that, people don't realize ballots actually start getting mailed September 6th in North Carolina, just about 10 days later in Pennsylvania. So people focus on November 5th, but ballots start getting mailed real soon.
All right. Speaking of various states, the Times poll was interesting in that it created narratives that would allow multiple paths to 270, right? Not just the blue curtain in Michigan, Wisconsin, but could she put the Sun Belt in play?
I think she can put the Sun Belt in play. I think in some ways that's more of a reflection of the weakness of Trump's candidacy, where there's a bunch of low ceiling. But you would think this would be a year in which Trump would benefit in the Sun Belt, particularly Arizona, with the border crisis of the Biden-Harris administration. But, in Georgia, it seems like Trump spent his time attacking one of the most popular Republican governors as opposed to actually prosecuting a case against Kamala Harris. And so, yeah, I think all those states are in play.
Do you think a change in campaign leadership on the Trump side can remedy that? Or in the end, does it all depend on what comes out of his mouth?
Well, Carl, keep in mind, in 2016, he had 3 different campaign managers on this pathway to victory. I think the reality is that campaign managers only have a limited influence over President Trump, and so he's going to run it the way he wants to run it.
Do you think there's any chance in the world that Vice President Pence would endorse Harris?
Oh, no. I think that her policies are simply the antithesis of everything that Mike Pence has fought for in his career from a conservative free market standpoint. But back on the economy, I think it's troubling. The reality is there isn't really a free market champion in this race. In J.D. Vance, you have somebody who's authored legislation to expand the regulatory state and has praised Lena Khan as the one member of this cabinet that he likes. And Donald Trump's proposing the biggest tariffs we've had since Smoot-Hawley. And so even though he is proposing to keep his tax relief plan, there isn't really a true champion of free markets that I think people have a choice in.
Isn't that because of the part of the cycle we're in? We're in the sweet red meat spot.
I don't think it's a reflection of the cycle.
Really?
I think it's a reflection that in many cases the Republican Party has shifted away and become a far more populist party, and they've abandoned many of the free market principles they once held dear.
And that's true globally as well, of course.
Yes, Leslie.
I'm curious what you think about kind of the role of the VPs on either ticket as it pertains to just the momentum that we've discussed, as it pertains to some of the policy implications that we've discussed.
Well, I think this is really going to be an election about the top 2. I do think that J.D. Vance you'll see him shine when we get to the debates. I think that's where he performs best. I think for Tim Walz, I think the question still there for me is Shapiro is somebody who I think Pennsylvania will be one of the most pivotal states. They passed over Shapiro, so I think there's going to be a burden on him to show why there's a better connection with him and Kamala Harris.
Did Walz impress you at all in Omaha?
Sure. I think that actually I got to know Walz during actually the COVID crisis because the Mayo Clinic is headquartered in Minnesota. 3M is headquartered there. He's an incredibly kind and generous person, but I think his policies as governor of Minnesota reflect more of the leftward tilt of the Democrat Party. So again, if it was on policies, you would think that this campaign, the Trump campaign, could prosecute the case about how far left this ticket really is. But I don't think they're doing a very effective job at that.
We'll see how granular they get this week in Chicago. Marc, please come back soon.
Thanks.
Good seeing you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.